Maui. And together, they will save us all.
Farther away my face is from the camera, the better it looks. It would be funny, except it's not. Hello, children. Moana! This movie just came out. I went to an early screening, and I literally saw 3 grown men crying in this movie, and I kind of don't blame them. It's just, it was kind of heartfelt, and they were crying, and then I kind of started getting teared up. But that just goes to show you what an animated film can do. So this is the story of Moana, and she's an expert salesman. Saleswoman. Salesman. She's an expert salesman. She's an expert sailor. And she goes on this journey basically to help her family. She uses the demigod, she uses Maui, and they go on this trip. Maui, Moana, and the chicken I love. The chicken. They go on this trip, and it's basically to help out her family, and it's an adventure. And I would really describe this movie as a comeback movie. As like a fight back movie. You like kind of remember like Rudy? Like it's like a journey and it's like a fight back. And that was probably my favorite thing about this movie. Now, it's from the creators of Frozen and some of the producers, I believe, from Zootopia. So if you liked those, especially Zootopia, you could feel its influence on this movie. The humor from Frozen, I think, carried over. Think of the snowman and this chicken. I actually think this chicken was so funny in this movie. I don't think enough people are talking about him. But the chicken was funny because the chicken really doesn't talk. The chicken has no lines. The chicken is all, you know, facial expressions and just like very physical comedy. And the chicken for me stole the show. I really enjoyed the chicken. Nobody's going to give this chicken enough credit. I'm here to give that chicken due worth. So the thing about this movie, and I don't want to get too much into the plot, but it's super good. But the thing about this movie that I think is going to trip up some audiences is it's not a princess movie. It's a fight back movie. It's a journey movie. It's not a love story. And some people, and I'm telling you right now, some people aren't going to like that. Some of the younger audience isn't going to like it. Some of these little kids aren't going to like it. Because I don't necessarily know if it's because they're pre-programmed to want a marriage or a partnership or whatever. I just think it's because those movies are easier to write and it's easier for them to identify with. I'm going to say something very harsh, but I feel it's very true. Most people aren't gonna accomplish what Moana ends up accomplishing in this movie. So they're not gonna be able to identify. But princess movies and fairy tales are easy because your end game is marriage and children, which most people will accomplish. Doing something grand, most people won't accomplish that. And that's why, personally, I think fairy tales do so well versus movies about like the struggle and, overcoming. Most people don't like that because, let's face it, they're not gonna accomplish it. So, I get real in this kids movie, but I feel like that's going to be a dividing factor for a big faction of the audience because and I feel too, because people are going to want to see that, and people too, with the writers, it's much easier to write a movie where it's a love story, prince, princess, guy meets girl, love, banter. I feel like that's much easier to write than a story about this girl who, the beauty of the movie is everything she has to overcome on this journey. She has to overcome, forget just the ocean. She has to overcome all these obstacles, all these villains, the weather, all these things she has to overcome to get to this new island. And then when she gets to that new island, there's things there too that she has to fight against. So it's really kind of like her, crossing every hurdle she has to jump and everything she has to overcome. That's the beauty of this movie. And if you're not up for that, if you want to see, and she lives happily ever after, and the guy slipped a shoe on her foot, the end, and that's the problem. A lot of people are going to want that, and this is not going to be for them because it's so much more and so much better written than a very generic fairy tale that people just like easy to understand, and that's usually what they fall for. But this movie, I feel, is 1,000 times better than any you know, very dated fairy tale. Lin-Manuel, he is from Hamilton. He wrote that play and he did the scoring. It's beautiful music for Hamilton. Some of the songs in this movie were hits and misses. I'd say it's split about 50-50. Some of the songs the scores were just, you know, really good, and it sets a nice tone. And then some of the songs where, you know, it's supposed to be like this great heightened adventure, it kind of falls flat, and that kind of bothered me because I was waiting for like the great song to like come out and take over the movie. And for me, that didn't happen. And when I heard he was writing the music for this movie, I was just like, oh, it's gonna be good. But it just kind of felt I'm surprised I didn't like the music more, but the songs didn't pop for me. There was, you know, Frozen has that Let It Go, it has that big song. That music didn't translate over. They didn't have I didn't feel that big song come over. And that kind of pissed me off because when I heard he was working on it, I was like, here it comes. It never came. So that's the big thing. I think everyone's gonna love Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in this. Again, he's your comic relief. He's funny. He sets a nice tone. He does a great job as Maui because the movie is pretty much like it's up and down, up and down. You're nervous. You know, you want her to win, and he's very much like, all right, I'm gonna get you all through this movie because we're gonna have to laugh. And the banter he has with the actress's name is, I think it's Cavallo. The banter he has with her is really good because it's first of all, you'll get that break and it paces throughout the movie. So it's not heavy and it's not sad for an hour and a half. You get nice little breaks. So I mean, it's good, but it's not a princess movie. And I worry if, you know, given the state and the intellect, given everything that's happened in the past couple of weeks, I worry about the intelligence of people watching shows now because I'm like, will they get it? Like, is this enough? I definitely think little kids are going to like it. But again, it's about, you know, are parents going to want to take their kids to see this? Are adults going to want to see this on their own without kids? So that's what I'm questioning. Like, how kids pushed Frozen. Little kids pushed Frozen. Did you see a little kid that didn't get dressed up for Frozen? As Elsa. So kids pushed Frozen. Adults pushed Zootopia. My question is, who's going to push this movie? I think it'll be little kids more than adults, but I do think the movie was written more for adults in mind because it's a good comeback story. So yeah, so who do I think is going to see this? Like I said, it's going to be little kids. Little kids. Parents are going to want to take their younger kids to see it. It's going to happen over Thanksgiving weekend, which is going to be good for their numbers. I do think it'll win the weekend. I think it'll win the weekend, but I think it'll be adults that like it more than kids. I don't think the kids are going to push this movie. I think the kids get you into theater, but I think adults will be the one to rave about it, if that makes sense. Because I think it was the reverse for Frozen. I think for Frozen it was kids that were raving about it, and adults were like, if I hear that song one more time, it's over. But my neighbor, she might be still, no, I think she's gotten a little older now, but she used to play that song, Let It Go, Honey. Let It Go was on loop. Out of 10, what do I give this? Oh, it's a good story, it's a good plot, it's really well written. Out of 10, I'm giving this an 8.5. Well acted, it's funny, that damn chicken. Please watch for the chicken. Focus, Jim, give some attention to my chicken. Do it for the chicken. The chicken was funny and the chicken didn't say one goddamn word. That's the beauty of the chicken. The chicken is great. The actress is so well in this, and she's Polynesian. You have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who balanced everything out. So I'm gonna say a solid 8.5 because it's a comeback movie. You're sad, you're happy, you're cheering for her, you're cheering for them. You want them, you want them to succeed in this. So I think it's an 8.5. It's a good movie. It's a good time. So when you do see it, let me know what you think. If you haven't seen it yet, just let me know what you thought based off the trailer, if it appealed to you. But this one was good. All right, you guys, that's it. That's it for me. Squad, the greatest show on earth. Live long and prosper. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Poke, 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 poke. The chicken, though. The chicken, there's some scenes. The chicken steals the movie.